Today we're going to try something different and hop right on into this subject. I can't seem to get enough of Papoose, Rim, and Clarissa. Rim back outside, and so is Papoose. He got a joint. It's a love song going to Clarissa. I love the song too. I think it's a shot at Rim because it got the same title. I'm excited about Rim's joint. She got that streaming network. I checked it out. It's cool, very official. And this should be a show up there. It's almost like they all superheroes, especially the two women's in this story. But Pap, you too. The superheroes in this story is better than Marvel Comics. This is way more interesting. Pap, you the Black Silver Surfer. Pap is the black man flying through the void of space alone on his surfboard. His character represents the foundational black man of America with the power to destroy planets, at war with everything in existence. Rim is Galacticus, and that's all I need to say about that. Only thing different between her and Galacticus is that she a female and she consumes galaxies in the booth. Okay, ladies, that's enough of that. I got carried away. You get the point. We the strongest thing in this whole universe as black men, but we ain't nothing without our woman. Now we in this crucial gender war, and Pap and Remy kind of grind this whole thing up and put it in a little capsule for us. That being said, who's really wrong in this situation? Is it Remy for stepping out in this situation? I'm not going to judge. Is it Pap for stepping out? Did Pap actually step out? Their marriage is not complete on paper. What does it really mean as far as the Bible is concerned? This is what this video is going to be about. This is what we're going to dig deep into. So let's get right on into that. Ladies, a lot of us men will stick around in a terrible situation and cheat on you and do all type of stuff simply because of our loyalty to you. It's really just saying that we love you and don't want to leave you and don't want to hurt you. In my opinion, all this starts off when we start lying to our mothers, when we start to become teenagers. We don't want mommy to know that we're out doing something we ain't supposed to be doing. Yet and still, when we come in that house, we got to act as though we're doing everything mommy tells us to do. We as men reflect the relationship that we have with our mother to our wife. I know you ladies hate to hear that, but even in Genesis, it tells us to cleave to our wife. Nobody ever listens to us men about our problems in our marriage or our problems with our woman. And we as men will never get advice about our women. Not to mention, ladies, you know this is true. If your man is not in high demand with other women, you'll feel like he's not all of that. And you'll second guess him, thinking that you probably could have made a better choice because a lot of the things you do are based on what your girls think about it. How your girls feel about your man. Is your man fine? Is he got enough money? There's a lot of this validation comes from women that are already in toxic situations or women that don't have a man at all. I don't think this is Remy's situation. I just think that Remy, because she just got out of jail, because she was a superstar and everything else, I think her validation came from her fans and her actual earning potential. Rem was concerned in how her public was going to feel. This whole black love thing had a lot to do with her image, and I don't think she felt comfortable with Pap taking control of the way her fans view her. In my opinion, Pap overstepped. He overstepped because his career was stalling. Rem already had a system set up in the way her public perceived her. He tried to insert himself into her business by doing this whole black love thing. She wasn't around for none of that. Rem knew her fans was going to see right through that. I'm only talking about how it looks to the public. To the public, it looks like he's not earning anything. Not counting this man's pocket. I don't know what he was actually making. He said he had the tune call thing and everything. Nobody sees that. Nobody knows anything about that. As far as the way it looks to the public, it looks like he doesn't have any earning potential. So it gives the interpretation that she's losing. Another thing Black Love did was angle her into a place of being obligated to stay with him no matter what he went through. I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm not in that man's mind. I'm just saying the optics and the way it looked. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. I feel like she really loved Pap. I got experience in life and I know what it feels like to be in love with a woman that doesn't love you back. Even when she was trying to get pregnant, the signs was all there. Nobody ever said nothing about this, but I could look and see. I don't know if she really wanted that pregnancy. Not at that time. Pap wanted that pregnancy. He wanted to lock that in. Again, let me clarify. I'm not saying that's what he was thinking. I'm saying the optics, and that's how it looked. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, he had began to put up walls and trap her into that marriage. You're not going to trap a woman like Rem in no type of situation. She is the Castle Hill Cobra in real life. The blockhead dude was just a pawn. He was silly enough to play that position. He was so happy being with Rim, thinking that she was going to actually be with him. She had no intentions on being with this dude. She just wanted to humiliate Pat. In my opinion, that was a way of ripping the Band-Aid off. That was a way of burning the bridge. That was a way of build and destroy, so to speak. She had to burn that marriage up in effigy and rise like a phoenix. The only way out is through. She faced her demons. She didn't cut and run. All that being said, was she wrong? Did she commit adultery? I'm not going to give no opinion. This is all facts. This is what the name of the show is. All facts. What does the scriptures actually say about this covenant being broken? First off, what exactly is a spiritual covenant? Mind you, I didn't say legal marriage. I said spiritual covenant. Genesis 2:24. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Now, how can we break that down in layman's terms, in terms that we all understand today? Leaving the parents has to do with you forming a new family, with you actually leaving the family that you have. This don't mean make your wife your mommy. This has to do with changing the roles of family members, from you being a son or a daughter to you being a wife and a husband. Holding fast is the bond between that wife and that husband with loyalty and love. Adultery breaks that bond. It also breaks the bond of being one flesh. It's simple. One flesh means exactly that. You were two distinct individuals and you join into one flesh, one brain, one body, one finance, one everything. Notice the verbiage of the Bible. It doesn't say one body. It doesn't say one mind. It says one flesh. Flesh in the Bible always means a sexual union. Now, we're talking about spiritual bonds, not legal bonds. They're two different things. A spiritual bond is not valid unless that marriage is consummated in flesh. Again, I must continue to reiterate, spiritual bond with a man and a woman is different from a marital bond on contractual papers. A contractual marriage does not have to be consummated. It can be annulled if the marriage becomes sexless and one of the parties involved doesn't want to be married anymore. The marriage can be annulled because of lack of sex. The marriage contract puts together your money, your assets, and your property. It has nothing to do with spiritual bonds. Now, when we're speaking of adultery, we are not speaking of anything legal. We are speaking simply of the spiritual bond that is talked about in the Bible. Now, what does the Bible actually say about adultery? The Bible defines adultery as sexual unfaithfulness within marriage, which breaks both physical commitment and sacred spiritual bonds created by God. Matthew 19:6. Jesus explains that God joins a husband and his wife together. He's not talking about being joined together legally. He's speaking specifically of the deep spiritual connection between a man and a woman. Mind you, when you make that contract, this is the reason why I don't agree with making your own marriage vows. When you do that contract with the minister, you're making the contract with God. And the people that you invite to the wedding are the witnesses of that bond you've made with God. When you break that contract, this bond is the ultimate covenant. It is extremely sacred. It's holy. Holy means set apart. When you break that bond through adultery, you seriously damage your relationship with the Most High, not only with your spouse. Exodus 20:14. The seventh commandment explicitly forbids adultery. Matthew 5:27-28. Jesus says even looking at someone with lust commits adultery in the heart. This includes porn and masturbation, ladies and gentlemen, and let me explain why. Sex is always had in the mind. It's not had through the body. What you perceive with your eyes and how that perception with your eyes is converted into thinking in the mind is what sex is. It has nothing to do with the body. The body is simply an expression of those thoughts. That's the reason why you can have a wet dream. You don't believe it? Picture in your mind right now a 90-year-old person standing in front of you. Are you sexually aroused? Absolutely not. Sex is all in the mind and the eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, flirting is adultery. Inboxing or speaking to someone over social media is also adultery. Friendly breakfast and lunch dates, texting, messaging, and personal conversations on the phone are adultery. Malachi 2:24. Marriage is called a covenant. God acts as a witness to vows made between a husband and wife. Quick fun fact for y'all. The Old Testament actually uses worshiping idols as a form of adultery. It's a metaphor for turning away from God, same as you would your husband or your wife in a marriage. So when you turn away from a marriage that God witnessed, you're actually turning away from God. Idols are the worship of anything other than God. James 4:4, the New Testament warns that loving the ways of the world more than God is spiritual unfaithfulness. Back to adultery again. Knowing all of this and taking all of this we've talked about in consideration, what are grounds for divorce according to the Bible, not according to legal documents? This is in the New Testament. There are two explicit grounds for divorce. One is sexual immorality, and two is desertion by an unbelieving spouse. I think we can add on physical and emotional abuse, even though it doesn't explicitly say that in the Bible. We all know what sexual immorality is. So now let's speak to desertion by an unbelieving spouse. Spiritual abandonment is explained by Paul in Corinthians 7-15. He's basically speaking of if you're a Christian, or just for an example, if you're a Christian and your spouse abandons you to become Muslim, then that's abandonment. That's obviously because of the peace that'll be broken because of the different beliefs that you two will have concerning the aspects of God. Imagine you're a Christian and your spouse becomes a Satanist. Court is now in session. We are not going to make no judgments on anybody personally, but who committed adultery in this relationship? Rem conducted a full-blown relationship with another man in public. Now, it doesn't matter what Pap did before this, because frankly, that's between the two of them. They stayed in their marriage even though that was going on. We don't really know what happened to them personally. We can only assume. What we do know is when she got with the blockhead. At that point, she committed spiritual adultery, and at that point, they became divorced. So him being with Clarissa is not adultery. He's not committing adultery with her. The two of them are still married contractually. Their money, assets, and property are still married, but their bodies are not one flesh anymore. So, Clarissa is not in an adulterous situation. Ladies, I am not judging our girl Rem. I'm not judging her. But she committed adultery. She ended the marriage. She did not want Pap anymore. So, what Pap did by moving on is spiritually, in according to the Bible, he is in his rights. Don't be mad at me, ladies. That's it for this video. This is where I'm going to hit the tarmac. Mwah! I love y'all so much. Fellas, peace. Again, don't forget about Plain Planet. The inspiration behind Plain Planet is not just some flat earth conspiracy theory. It's the idea that your vision in life belongs to you. You don't have to believe something that you've learned in school. You don't have to believe something that science tells you is true. You can believe what you want to believe. You could be who you want to be. This is the essence of Plain Planet. Plain Planet is a clothing line. It's a Christian clothing line on top of it that you can actually wear and be proud of. This ain't churchy or Bible thumping. This is a quality streetwear brand. This is Plain Planet. Clothing you can believe in.
Come true, and I wonder